Andrew, I'm going to ask you in a moment to introduce yourself, and then we can. I thought we could talk about some of those broader issues, and then the kind of options that are available, which would broadly probably be going into like a big business, getting employed in a bigger organisation or government or whatever, and then there's the small business sector and different ways of doing that, and we can talk about the way we've chosen and why. So I'm hoping that this will be of interest and certainly of benefit to people who, especially if they're going through this process or they're about to sign off from active duty and make their mark in the civilian world, and I really do think that things can be done once people understand the issue better. If people, something I've talked to you about, if people had some idea, as I have learnt to have, it took me time to get educated about the extraordinary amount of training people go through in all sorts of skills in the military. And I've quoted to you my friend, retired Lieutenant Colonel Fred O'Bone in Canada, who says, whenever there's a spare moment, people are training or learning or, upskilling, whatever it happens to be. And that's not, I don't think that's understood by people in civilian life. I think they probably think if you're not out there, ducking bullets and firing your own, you're sitting around having a beer or so. I really don't know. And I think that's a lot of the problem. People don't know,
No, they don't.
No, and you've experienced that. So Andrew, veteran of East Timor, Afghanistan, Iraq. You don't have to prove your credentials to speak on this.
Nah.
But
thank you.
No, absolutely mean that, and with respect. And as our American friends like to say, thank you for your service, and I mean it from the heart. So
thank you very much.
Tell us about yourself, Andrew, and a bit of your journey.
Bit of my journey. So
Yeah.
I was pretty much called to service. My family is very deeply entrenched in military history.
Yeah.
So it's something that you grow up with. I thought it was like just a family, something that the family did.
Yeah.
But didn't realise that there is a very deep calling especially when you join the infantry or a combat corps.
Yeah.
Because it's not an easy place to live. You're living in a hole in the ground when you're outfield, and if you're lucky, you got vehicles. Or if you don't have vehicles, then you're walking everywhere.
Yeah.
You're cold, you're wet, you're hungry, you're hot, you're sweaty, you chafe, but you just keep doing it because there's something, I don't know, intrinsic in how deep the love for the job is. People that sign up for a paycheck, and we noticed that about 2008, people that signed up for paychecks soon left very, very quickly, whereas those that were called stayed and always had a smile, laugh. So then, that's sort of the background as to why I joined. And then obviously I did 10 years or just shy of 10 years. The only reason I got out is because I hit it. I was training for Special Forces selection and hurt my back when I was up in Canungra, Queensland. There's a big training area. There's a training area up there where they do a lot of jungle training.
Yeah, that's
terrain
for a long while. Hasn't been a great training.
Yeah, there's the terrain up there is quite unforgiving. So I slipped down a bank and squashed a disc in my back, and that was it. No longer able to serve. So, and that led me into the difficulties of getting out. Because I had a goal for the next 10 years as to where I wanted to be, and to have that change straight away is a very difficult thing. A lot of responsibilities that you tend to throw and you blame a lot of people, but it was me that got injured, nobody else. So I had to do a lot of soul searching.
Must have been a terrible blow to your dreams.
It was. Like I had a 10-year plan, and it was to always go into business, but it would have been in security sector with the credentials of Special Forces behind me, so that credential weighs a lot. And then to not even be able to go into the private security sector, where a lot of my mates end up, is because of those injuries, was also another blow. So you can't actually follow the boys' club.
Yes.
You have to start forging your own path in life again.
Right. I'm just going to say hi, Paul, and hi, Michael, watching. Yeah. So I guess you had to go through a bit of a period of kind of adjusting to that, and then. So what's plan B? You maybe didn't have a plan B at that stage, and you had to develop one?
No plan B. So my plan B at first was because of my back injury, and I had a fair few musculoskeletal injuries, and that's due to just the culture within the military when I was in there was if you got injured, you did the bare minimum to get back to active service. So like I dislocated an ankle in East Timor. Spent 8 weeks at home and was back in East Timor. Like realistically, I lied my teeth off to get passed by the doctor to get back there because that's the culture.
Yeah.
You don't want to let your mates down. It's there's that tight bond. So those things, after 9 years or so, they start to come back and haunt you. Like those little things that you never actually heal properly. They never heal properly, but because the mindset is you just keep going, you don't stop. Once you get out there and you're not allowed to train at that elite level anymore, those injuries come crashing back down. So I spent 2 years rehabilitating, getting my head right, everything, fixing my body. Years on rations and eating crap food and local food, and the amount of times that I've been sick on a deployment due to eating those bad foods that one that's served over and sat in patrol bases and stuff like that understands how sick you can get. Cast iron stomach you kind of end up with. So to come back out and to try and figure out then from square one what I wanted to do was pretty difficult. I wanted to study but didn't quite have the mental capacity at the time too, because there's so many things going on. So and then there's that you've gone from having a certain paycheck and a certain level of income and a lifestyle to then having to rely on one income. So it was, very difficult was it easier for me to not work? And, because I was working part-time, but enough to, do bits and pieces here and there, enough to sort of keep sustaining that cash flow. But there's still that negative impact on your own psyche because you're not earning and living at that lifestyle. And then if you've got a partner in the mix, it's pretty lucky. Like we spent 7 months off once because my wife was in the mines, so she took a redundancy package. I left the army on the same day, so we both finished up work at the same day. So we took off overseas and travelled and everything. So that sort of, that was the driving force of how I figured out I wanted to become an entrepreneur and go into business.
So
but it was a long road to get to that process.
Right. Wow. And so what were the options that kind of presented yourself in terms of business to you, presented themselves to you in terms of business?
In terms of,
you don't have to be too specific unless you choose to be.
So before I started looking at business, the army doing the right thing, we're like, we're going to rehabilitate you, but we're going to rehabilitate you into the role of an admin. And that was civilian contractors outside that didn't understand the skill set of military. And they're like, we're going to give you admin. And I'm like, oh, what? So, I sent out close to 300 job applications, but didn't know how hadn't been taught, how to sell myself and my skill set. So the difference in terminology and language between civilian and defence, there's like you may as well trying to throw rocks at each other across the Grand Canyon because it's a pretty big gap. I know from talking to my some of my other colleagues that gap is starting to shorten with how their the terminology that the military is starting to use to help with that transition, but it's not quite there yet.
So then were you looking at having like I don't know a contracting business or
so I looked at sort of heaps of different things actually. Try to get into the corporate world, try to get in construction industry. I actually, through sheer luck, the army had a couple of the boys had put together a course package, and we then ended up with a Cert 3 in civil construction. So I ended up in civil construction for a little while. I've done some disability care work. I've done a fair few. I've turfed. I've laid turf. I've worked up on a farm. What else have I done? I've worked as a business manager in car finance and insurance. That was completely not a good fit for me. I just, it's a fit for some people, for other people it's not. And that's not taking away from them, and they work pretty hard at what they do, writing loans and businesses and insurances and stuff for those car yards, as we'd call them. But yeah, it just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I found that being outside and working was where I started to. I think that was sort of the road to recovery for me, was outside, being outside, because for 10 years I'd been outside.
Yeah.
So to transition straight into an office, I didn't do real well. I think a lot of people don't understand the drive and work ethic. Like, I ask for something to get done and it doesn't get done. And I'm like, well, why haven't you done that? And next thing HR's like, hey, mate, you can't talk to them like that. And I'm like, I asked a question.
Yeah.
I want an answer.
Yeah.
How hard is it to ask a question to get an answer?
Yeah.
I would like to know why that's not done.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you can't answer that. You can't ask that. And it's like, then how does anything ever get done?
Yes. Amazing. I see my friend, great coach friend, Michael Cooper from California is on this evening. Hi, Michael. And I'm sure there are vets in California and elsewhere in the USA who probably want to watch this and relate to it well. So I've just got a comment off camera coming through here.
I started a watch party.
Yep.
And I've got Bill Vick.
Oh, great, Bill.
And about 10 other people.
So
watching.
Susie's
awesome.
started a watch party. Bill Vick's a Marine.
Awesome.
And he's a very close friend of mine, and that's a whole story. I'll have to interview him again one of these days. And from Dallas, Texas, and there are others.
Thank you for your service, boys.
And I hope, yes, indeed. And Anne Bernard, who's also a Marine, I pinged her a few days ago. So yeah, and Matt Jones, ex-ADF, ex-Duntroon, said he was hoping to be here, but he couldn't make it. But he's going to watch the replay. So we've got some interest happening here. So so then you moved into being an entrepreneur. So had you ever seen yourself? Had you ever thought that word related to you?
Not to me. I thought business did, and that was purely, as I said before. Like, I had aspirations of opening my own company in the security sector.
Yeah.
However, I'm a very big credentials person, so I think that you need to hold the qualification to be able to do the thing.
Okay.
A lot of people talk about no cuff too tough and fake it till you make it, but I've always wanted to have the knowledge and the experience that if I was asked a difficult question, that I could back it. Yeah. To be the expert. Sometimes that can be a bit hampering, and sometimes you do have to run out into the middle of the road and try and fake it till you make it, till somebody stops. But that's the way it is, and that was a learning curve for myself in going into business. But I looked at the online world first, due to the fact that you need no collateral. So you don't need, you don't need a warehouse, you don't need tools, you don't need equipment. You need an internet connection, a laptop, and a smartphone.
Yeah. You don't have to put your life savings into a franchise or something. Yeah.
Exactly. However, I didn't do enough due diligence, and I got sold by an epic ad from a company from the States that I'm not going to name them or anything. No. Like the program was aimed at beginners, but it was an intermediate advance. They were talking about super affiliates. I didn't even know what a proper affiliate was. They were talking about funnels, building, ClickBank, traffic, drop shipping, all these different terminology that I had no idea because I was brand new into the digital world space. Tried that for about 6 months, got absolutely nowhere, and I hate giving up on things. So I ended up walking away from it. Purely because there was no progression in learning or anything like that. The course was very difficult to understand because you needed that knowledge. So it was and coming from the military where, there is, during this lesson you'll be taught, the reason why you're taught this is because if you just do this, then it'll work. So there was no reasoning behind how I was getting taught things, and I was like, this is just not making any sense to me. And then I ended up in bricks and mortar for a little while, and was doing that, but that was just normal contracting, and then went back into the online space because we figured that we wanted to travel and see the world, and we wanted to teach our daughter through experience.
Yes.
And that was where we wanted to be. So we decided that it was back to the online world we'll go, and we'll build a personal brand.
I'm just going to take a little, you might call station break, Andrew, and just say for people who might be just jumping on now, I'm speaking with Andrew Martin, who's a veteran of East Timor, Afghanistan and Iraq, and we're talking about the challenges that vets face in transitioning to civilian life, and specifically into business, and some of the options he's tried. And we're kind of now at a point where we're talking about online business. And if I can just add a little there to my own story, not as dramatic as yours, Andrew.
No, that's fine. Everybody has their own story, and everyone should be proud of it.
That's right. And I'm proud of a lot of what I've achieved in the past. I've been I was a senior public servant in both the Australian government and state government, and one day I just decided that I'd actually climbed the ladder from being a base grade clerk up to a fairly senior position, and I realised that no matter how high I climbed, there was always somebody more powerful
up the
there.
tree.
Yeah, and
somebody further up.
Once you got to be head of the department, you had the politicians. But I'd got far enough up the tree to be affected by the politicians, even though I wasn't head of the department. So I had all this political pressure, which I didn't. I mean, I like politics from afar. You know, somebody said to me once, it's like think of it like going to the circus. Don't sit in the front seat, or the elephants will tread on you. You know, so sit back a bit so you can observe. So I have that.
You can see everything.
I have that interest, but I just got really stressed out. I mean, I got so stressed out that I looked down one day. I had the nice office, I had the car, and I had really great staff that I loved, and a job that I liked. But there was all this pressure every day, pressure, and it was political pressure to compromise. Basically, I was being pushed to compromise my standards, and the body reacted. My hands were shaking, you know.
Oh, really?
So I took a holiday. Someone said, you need a holiday. I said, yeah, okay. So I went off about 3 weeks to Thailand, relaxed totally.
Yeah.
Came back all ready for another week or two. The hands were shaking again, so that was it. I had to get out. Because, anyway, there's a longer story that I won't bore you or anybody else with, but I tried a couple of things as far as business is concerned. I had a consulting business for quite a while. That went very well, and I had some great projects. And then I got into coaching, which I love and still doing, and the whole business of business coaching really is still happening. But then I wasn't giving, one-on-one coaching, as a lot of coaches will tell you, doesn't give you that extra bit to do the world, the traveling and all that I wanted to do. And so then I got very much into online business, like you had. Some experiences that weren't so great, and now in a business that really works. Because I was also before I was the public service, that bureaucratic role, I was a teacher, and you're ingrained with service. I grew up with a family of teachers. I love teaching, and coaching's just related.
So you want to give back?
Yeah, and I want to give back, and I love the idea of being able to save people the challenges I've had in getting to a point where it all kind of makes sense as far as the online business is concerned, so they don't have to go through the stupid mistakes I made, And
that's part of the learning. It seems to be that everybody goes through those mistakes anyway.
I know, but if I can shorten that for people, by helping steering them into some training that works,
Yeah,
training,
exactly.
that the business that we're associated with, where it works for people who've got no prior experience, and also for people more advanced, it's
exactly.
Gradated thing, it's sort of articulated in terms of
very flowing. Very flowing, very thought out. So they thought out from someone who had never seen it before all the way through.
That's right.
So and I think with each topic being linked the way it is shows a depth of understanding and knowledge of actually teaching somebody a skill set necessary that they can build and then build momentum, which is a big thing.
And also, and we've talked about this, the mindset side of things, because you can have your setbacks, and as in any business, you really got to be resilient, and that doesn't necessarily come naturally to people, especially if they're surrounded with people who aren't resilient, encouraging them to give up, or asking them if they got crazy or whatever it happens to be, why don't they just go and get a regular job? I tried to
Yeah.
get a regular job about in just not long after I turned 50, and the consulting work had gone slow, as it happens, you know. Um,
Yeah.
and I wasn't great at the marketing, so I tried to get a job, and I'd have these phone calls, and I was probably a bit like some of your mates, ex ADF, you know, for veterans, and you get this thing saying, "Oh, I think we are overqualified," you know, or some nonsense thing.
Some
They're really
crap.
saying I was too old, you know, but they
Yeah.
couldn't say that legally.
No, because they can't discriminate.
That's right.
You've got the skills. You've got an amazing set of skills, and you know you have the qualifications, but you don't have the industry experience to fulfill the roles and responsibilities at this time. We think that if you were to get some more industry experience, then we would gladly take you on. However, we'll hold your resume for the next year or so, and if something pops up, we'll give you a call.
Oh dear, you've memorised that because you've heard it.
I've heard that a lot.
Yeah,
And it is, and I don't see at first. In the military, you're taught not to fail.
yes,
You can fail in training, but that's a completely different mindset. So when it comes to stepping out onto the field, you don't fail, because if you fail, you die.
yes,
So when you take, it's a bit difficult to understand that mindset. So every day, it's to translate that back into the civilian world. You don't train, but you do every day. So when you fail at something you do, it does, you're just like, whoa, this isn't supposed to happen. And you get this like, oh, hang on a minute.
yeah,
But you need to understand that it's okay to fail in the civilian world, because
yeah,
that's you're just gathering data on how things don't work, and then how to find the best solution to a plan. See, whereas we would train and train and train, and we would throw scenario after scenario after scenario. You'd rehearse, and everything was planned down to minute details of locations where everything was, to the point where you would know your patrol route so well that if something happened, you already knew the terrain, because you'd looked at it, you'd looked at your maps, you knew where things were, so that you could actually make decisions on the ground so fast that you could change the direction and the initiative of what you needed to achieve. So when you translate that into the civilian sector, you're not used to that rehearsal beforehand. So to move out of training and then straight into a job where you're measured on successes, but you are expected to fail, it's a very hard mindset. It's very confusing for someone that's been doing it for years and years and years and years and years, where to fail is dead.
Yeah, that's a great
in that
insight.
extreme sense.
I'd never really thought of it that way. That's very profound. Yeah.
So it gets a bit difficult to change those thought processes sometimes. You just got to take a step back and go, we're just gathering data.
Yeah.
It's fine. We can crack back on again.
Yeah. Somebody said to me recently that there's no failure, there's only a new learning, So I can understand that from that culture you're talking about, that's a kind of contradiction in terms, I mean, it's learning was back there, now this is action.
Learning's back there, jobs on, boys. Let's go.
Yeah.
And that's the way that you spoke. You're like, jobs on, fellas. And everybody would switch on. It was amazing to see. Like, absolutely amazing. People knew, understood, because you'd worked so well together. This is where, when I read Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, I had an epiphany moment, because, and I think that for me was the biggest turning point in understanding how I wanted to be an entrepreneur over, and then how I could use that after I discharged from the army, because the army had actually taught me all those principles. So all 13 principles, they taught me to a varying degree, but that varying degree to only serve the military. And then when I read Think and Grow Rich, everything sort of fell into place, and I was like, I know every single one of these. A definiteness of purpose is actually a mission statement. And, I had all those things when I was in the military, but when I got out, they were all gone. So I was very, very lost and alone, a bit afraid, scared, unsure, which is, it's not a bad thing to admit. You can admit that, because then you've just got to adapt and then you overcome. So that's why I think when I allowed myself to have a brand new mission statement, and one is to impact, as many people as I can, so that they don't end up down the same path as me, depression, anxiety, all those different things, to show them that there is a pathway out of defence or emergency services, police, Sorry,
Yeah.
my phone rang.
Yeah.
So,
There
you know,
is a
all those
path.
things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
That's fascinating. So we're, the business that we're associated with is about it's about learning online marketing, and specifically affiliate marketing. And affiliate marketing, people say, "What's affiliate marketing?" I said, "Well, you know, with Amazon, you know, you can get a commission if somebody buys a book that you've recommended, or you know, stores now
The
have
best
every second website now seems to have, you know, apply for our affiliate."
an affiliate, yeah.
Yeah.
So the biggest, and this is the best way that it was explained to me. So people don't know the top 4 companies in the world are affiliate companies. Uber holds no stock. All it does is links a product to a service. So
Yep.
it links you, the consumer, to a product or service, a man driving around in a car, and you pay that man. Uber takes a commission. Airbnb holds no real estate,
Yeah, that's right.
but all it does is it links you with a place to stay, and they take a commission. The next one, eBay, holds no stock, but it links you, the consumer, with the product, the seller, who wants to sell you their products so that then they can make money, and eBay takes a commission out of the sale.
Yeah.
There's 3 of them.
That
And
was
then you've got things like Expedia, you've got Amazon.
yeah.
Obviously, they have their products, but Amazon sort of not so much. Amazon, because you can go directly to Amazon yourself, search for a product and buy it and not pay a commission.
That's right.
They're not really an
100%.
affiliate, but they have an affiliate program.
Yeah. Yeah,
But that's the best way that it was explained to me.
It's a great way to explain it, and that was the kind of aha moment for me last year when I first started to do this business. I thought, and I remember saying to Susie, "Oh, this is disruptive. This is Airbnb. This is Uber." You know, it all kind of fell into place for me in terms of the you know, business cycles and the history of business and where we're at the moment. You know, and also the whole
Exactly.
The way the technology makes this possible.
Because it allows you to connect to, you know, this Facebook has 2.1 something billion users.
Yeah.
You know, and then you've got the other social media platforms. So it, you know, your reach is exponential. It only depends on how targeted you can be, your niches.
Yeah.
And for those that understand what a niche is just a sector of the market that is interested in that particular type of either product, service, anything on it.
Yeah.
So to learn, and you learn all that through this program, which is amazing because, you know, and then you learn how to actually speak to someone in an ad. So an ad on a TV, there's certain languages that you use, you know, when you read something, there's certain language that is used and it's used to apply it, you know, to different parts of the brain.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same things, all taught, and it's an amazing platform.
Yeah. So
and then they teach you how to look at an affiliate offer so that it doesn't. They also teach you the skills to just say, okay, well, I want to go and sell this product, but is that product? And they teach you how to forecast a model. Is that product actually going to make you money, or are you going to hustle your ass off for $10 a week?
Yeah. Yeah.
So are you going to make a high commission out of a high ticket item, or are you going to make low comms out of a low ticket item that's bought, you know, but you've still got to hustle. So you're still doing the same work for the high ticket item as you would for the low ticket item.
Yeah. And, you know, somebody said the other day to me, you know, this probably takes as much. It might be hard for some people to get their head around this, but once you've got the right kind of products and so on, it doesn't take any more kind of work to sell $100,000 project, say, than a $10,000 or $10,000 service than a $1,000 one. You know, but so that's that's where the mindset stuff comes in, because our company, actually, the community puts a big emphasis on
mindset,
on the mindset and the emotion set, I'd call it. You know, the heart set, if you like. Because, you know, it can be challenging. Anything is challenging. And being an entrepreneur literally means being prepared to take a risk in order to have.
To put your nuts on the chopping blocks.
Yeah. So
that's the way I see it. Is to put it.
Yeah.
Is to go hard or go home.
Go hard or go home. And you and I are both really keen to find people. One of the things that I've gradually realised is that, certainly speaking for myself and Susie, my other half, is that we're very focused now looking for people who are leaders, because Again, you know, once you can find someone who's got some leadership aspiration and potential, they will learn stuff faster and then share it with others, because that's their mindset.
I think the beauty about this, and this is where people might get a bit confused, is we actually teach a thing called attraction marketing.
Yes.
So attraction marketing isn't door knocking, door to door. So you put you out there as who you are, and people will be attracted to who you are. So there's no selling to your friends or family. They might ask you about what product it is that you've got in your home, which I get often asked a lot. However, I don't show them our affiliate business models or anything like that. I just go, this is the product I have. If you want it, perfect, fine, happy days. But I don't solicit or, you know, don't go sell them, hey, you need to buy this and you need to join our business, because you'll end up with the wrong people in your business. So it's only people that actually, if something resonates with them, that's where you bring the people that are attracted to the way that you lead your teams, and then they implement those same skill sets.
This is an image I have in my mind from football, Andrew, and it won't mean a lot to some people. And I'm not an AFL type person, because I grew up playing rugby, Union Rugby League.
Yeah.
But I've lived in Victoria. I've played a very clumsy version of amateur AFL. A guy I knew who was actually a very good player, like he tried out for Richmond at one stage, I think. He said to me one day, "You know what, mate? You do everything the right way, but you do it in slow motion." So, so I had the skill concept, but execution was my challenge. Anyway, this image I have going to a semi-final. Hi, Mel. Good to see you. And John, I saw earlier. So I go to this semi-final in the MCG, and I think it was Essendon playing someone, and it's so long ago I can't quite remember. But there was this guy who was a bit older than some of the other players. He was a veteran of AFL. He hardly moved. Him, and when he kicked it, went straight to the person who wanted it, you know. And I thought, I apply that to business. I say, I love the idea of attracting the ball, so to speak, attracting the people, rather than, you know, I've done this in the past, ring up some friend and say, do you want to have a cup of coffee? I want to show you this business I've got. And I hated that. And you know, contacting, as you say, you know, family and friends, that's not a business I want. Some people do it very well and seem to be quite successful. Now, I think Andrew's just dropped out a bit there. Okay, what do I do here? Wants to be in your video. Hold on. There we go. Should be back again in a moment.
There we go.
So, yeah, so that was the image of all came to him rather than having to run around and get it. So I like the idea of business where this is not about not working. This is about, as you say, attraction marketing, not chasing marketing, not, you know, running after people, pressuring, all of that. It's sort of the people who are out of those, as you say, billions of people who are on Facebook or some on LinkedIn or whatever, and they say, this guy seems to be talking my language. This woman seems to understand my situation. I'm going to have a chat with them. This kind of, and if there's something comes from there, that's great. As you say,
we'll have to cut this pretty short soon.
But look, I've been talking. So Andrew, I've been talking with Andrew Martin, who's an Australian veteran, and we've been talking about the challenges facing people from the services who then transition into civilian life. And we know some of them find that very hard, and we've got some ideas. We've shared some ideas about that, and it's partly about two cultures getting to understand one another better, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we've talked about our own business, which is online affiliate marketing with using attraction marketing. And Andrew, how do people contact you if they say, I want to continue this conversation with you?
So we have Simone and I have a Facebook page, Andrew and Simone Martin. You can just Google us and it'll take you to our Facebook page. You can also, you can find me on Facebook, or you can find my my wife as well, and you can have a conversation with either one of us.
Can you?
And we're happy to.
Yeah. Can you?
I'll put those links
in the comments to this.
In the comment box.
Yeah.
Yep. Too easy.
And you know, and I'm open to some people wanting to talk to me too.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah. So, and I'm Googleable. I've had this long-running kind of challenge to be number one on Google ahead of the guy who was the head of Nutrimetics. He's got the same name.
Yeah,
Currently, I
yeah,
think
and
currently I think I'm ahead of him. You know, he's
oh, awesome! There you
just
go. Congratulations.
having a bit of fun with it.
Small wins in life are
Small
always
wins,
the
yeah.
fun ones.
Bit of trivia. Andrew, it's been fantastic talking with you. I think
But
we might do this again sometime. And
definitely.
thank you for coping with the technology challenges. Thank you, people
Ah, no, you're right.
who've coped with that. And I've had some education now in the technology, and I really appreciate you making your time, Andrew, and whoever's been.
Thanks for having me. It's been
Yep.
a good day.
Thanks, man. Thanks, everybody.
All
Bye.
right, thank you.